Last week, I released my top non-Power 5 prospects in the 2023 NFL Draft, and people were mad that Notre Dame prospects were allowed on the list because apparently Notre Dame should be a Power 5 team. They lost to Marshall. I have no idea, but it is what it is. No more Notre Dame guys on this list. You're getting a new 10, so 10 guys that weren't on last week's list. You're welcome, and what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Special thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring the video. You get 20% off plus free shipping when you use promo code Broshmo at checkout. Let's go ahead, get into the list, starting with Jonah Tavai out of San Diego State, having a banger year, actually matching numbers that he did last season, as he had 61 pressures and 10 sacks last year. This season, he's already at 58 pressures, he's already at 10 sacks, so he's gonna eclipse those numbers. This guy was a former 2-star JUCO transfer from the 2019 class. He spent 2018 at El Camino College before actually transferring to San Diego State. In high school, he was a thrower in track and field. But yeah, he played in all games in 2019 for the Aztecs. Made really just one sharp start, but in the shortened 2020 season, because, you know, Rona and crap, he actually played in every game while starting the last 5. That kind of began his ascension as a starter, because he really showed out actually in those 5 games as a starter. But this dude is the anchor to the Aztec defense, man. He's like a bowling ball on the field, or maybe even a fire hydrant, as you can tell just from the small stature, but the thickness, man. At 6 foot 295, nice low center of gravity, plays with good natural leverage. He plays fast, he's twitched up, his hands are both quick and strong, must come from that track background. When chopping down blockers, arms, it's violent, dude. I love that. I love to see a little bit of violence in my defensive lineman. He grinds out each and every rep, has decent lateral movement, can really play sideline to sideline along that line, and has a lot of prowess as a pass rusher. And guess what? Also, one of the premier run stuffers in all of college football. However, you do look at the limitations, the lack of length, and just the overall height. You're going to be worried that he will have trouble disengaging at times in the NFL. There are times he does have trouble with that in on his tape. Like, you look at it, and sometimes blockers just kind of ride him past the play, and I really would like to see him use his hands and his suddenness more often than not to make a play back towards the football. Also, plays with his head down. It's like already, like, you kind of like having to look up because you're a shorter cat, but does play with his head down sometimes and just loses track of the play of where it's at in the backfield. He does plays with great leverage, but I think his power is more explosive than actual like full body strength. I think he could definitely add more power to his game, or at least more strength to his frame. Like I said, that power is more explosive, and you kind of see it, you know, as like maybe a rep goes longer, he does kind of lose the edge there. But nah, man, this dude, top notch, got a mid-day 3 grade on him currently. On to Zakhari Franklin. I freaking thought this cat was coming out last year. I'm a huge fan of him. He's having a great season. He's on track to beat his numbers from the prior year in 2021. Had over 1,000 yards, 12 tutties. He's currently at almost 800 yards and 9 tutties. Got a mid-day 3 grade on him. He's 6'1", 185. He plays receiver. I'm listing all that because apparently people get mad when I don't say that stuff, like it's not on the screen, or you can't use your context clues to put together what position he plays. But I'm, you know, just throwing that out there, just putting that out there. What do they call it? I'm trying to think. Passive aggressive. There we go. I'm just being passive aggressive. But I'm actually a really big fan of Franklin. I thought he was going to come out in the 2022 NFL draft, which I think I had him about a mid day 3, early day 3 pick. I think he's going to fall on day 3 regardless, but he's fun to watch. Former 2-star recruit, played basketball and track in high school. He just shows some good speed, and he plays much bigger than he is. Like, because you look at it, it's like 185. That's kind of like whatever, you know. It's like he's not the biggest receiver, but he plays like a big receiver. He like goes up and contests the catch point. He'll high point the football. He shows very soft hands and a knack for the acrobatic catch. The drop rate did go up a little bit this year, but part of that is a hell lot of contested catches this season already, and you know he's pretty solid at the contested catch for the most part. He hovers around that 40 to 45% rate, so that's good. He's a good route runner, especially on deep routes, creates separation with his hands. He also has the ability to really sell routes, whether it's with head fakes, shoulder fakes, and whatnot. He's very strong after the catch. Like, it's just tough bringing him down. He had 14 forced missed tackles last season. This year, he is at 14 as well. So he's looking to eclipse that number. No surprise why UTSA has kind of had this resurgence. I say resurgence, the surgence. When were they actually like legit? But like last year, they were really good. They were really good this year, 8-2. Now, some of the things that will be knocks. He is slim, and there will be concerns with his physicality throughout the route in the NFL, and if he could handle that physicality, if he could handle NFL strength. Because keep in mind, it's not like he's doing this at a Power 5 program. He's doing this in Conference USA. There are many cases where he could have been flagged for pass interference, and he simply wasn't, and kind of is what it is. And let's see. Yeah. Like, he's a solid athlete. I wouldn't say he's like sudden or twitchy, but like he's a solid athlete. That's why I have him as a mid-day 3. Could probably sneak into that like early day 3 area. Like 5th round honestly feels really good for him. All right, on to the next one. Dorian Williams out of Tulane, linebacker, 6'2", 230. I've talked about him earlier this year on my stock report, and I can't recall if I talked about him in my actual linebacker rankings, but I got a 5th round grade on him. I think he's really performed exceptionally well. He's got a ton of special team experience to him, as you could tell. Like, legit blitzer, a cat that has really become a much better run defender this season, as he's already easily surpassed his run defense stops from last season. He's kind of like, he looks more of the 2020 guy we saw rather than the 2021, which was like kind of, is kind of like, meh. But yeah, man, this dude, like, he's one of the best coverage linebackers in the class. You might not see like the total ball skills from him, but he does it like a 70% catch rate is pretty darn solid. That's currently what he's averaging this year. Typically, you'll settle for like 80% from your linebacker. 70 is good to see. You see the 2 pass breakups and interception on the season, but what he is getting done is being a blitzer, man. And they've been more accepted to you, like, I guess they've been more willing to use him as a blitzer, and I really like that because he's got good short area quicks, good closing speed. I love the play, the instincts, the recognition. Really plays at a very high speed. It just shows very impressive range. Very smart player. Love the scrappiness, willingness to like just throw his body to get a tackle, and the missed tackle rate is actually really good on him, as he had 10% in 2021. It was 13% in 2020, which are fine for linebackers. This year, it's 6%. He's just gotten better year after year after year. He's just such a good athlete, smooth change of direction, knows how to follow the action. Just dude packs a punch, man. Like, he is honestly one of the better linebackers in this class. One of my gripes coming to the year was he will need to be a better run defender and do a better job of tracking down ball carriers and taking better angles, and I think he's done that this year. And my real concern probably is when he does get matched with, because it literally, it all goes back to the run game, is can he take on, like, tight ends, blockers, whether they're, like, again, whether they're tight ends, fullbacks, linemen, because there are times he does struggle to disengage. The dude has the mentality. I did say he probably could stand to add a bit more bulk, but that's kind of fine. Guys are playing at 230 nowadays. Some guys are even playing at less. So, like, I think he's a cat that if he gets a Senior Bowl, I really hope it's a Senior Bowl too, that he could really fly up boards. All right, on to the next cat on the list, being Nathaniel Tank Dell, wide receiver out of Houston, 5'10", 165. Yeah, I know the size, it's god awful, but this cat can play. He's enjoying his second consecutive season of over 1,000 yards and over 10 touchdowns. He has 13 on this season, 12 in last season, and might be one of the most ideal, like, slot receivers in this class. Also, on top of that, he brings good special team experience, good return experience, I should really say there. But dude was a former 3-star recruit out of the 2017 class, decided to, let's talk about this, because he does have an interesting background. He decided to go to Alabama A&M and then redshirted his first season after an injury. He saw minimal playing time in 2018, decided to transfer to Independence Community College, which, if you recall, that school was featured on Last Chance U, but that was before Dell arrived, the season before, I believe. He ended up having 52 receptions for over 750 yards, 8 touchdowns that season, decided to transfer to Houston, where he carved out a role early on special teams, and then just broke out in 2021. And dude's been really good. Really, he has. And I love that they've given this guy's the nickname of Tank. But this dude has blazing speed, elite stop-start ability. He has the ability to make plays after the catch like it was out of a video game. Possesses one of the nastiest back steps you'll ever see. I love that he's very fluid as a route runner, explodes out of his breaks. And to be fair, like, this season, he's actually playing less on the outside because he's just not going to be an outside receiver in the NFL. That's just not going to be him. 70% of his snaps this season are being in the slot. So I really do think this guy probably is going to be a slot player, but he wins even when on the outside. He wins with good footwork, like very quick feet. He just doesn't try to give guys the opportunity to put a hand on him. But yeah, this dude, excellent, man. Really good. I think, if anything, like, the return game just helps him out even more. That's why I got this 5th round grade on him. But teams are going to be concerned about the lack of size. He has put on 10 pounds. He was at 155 in 2021. He's at 165 now, but still, some teams just not going to be behind that size. Physicality will be a concern. The drops this season are much better. He was at that 10.8% drop rate in 2021. This year he's at 7.5, so you love to see that. And I think a lot of that has been that he's allowed himself to make more catches away from his body than just letting the ball hit his pads. So big fan of Dell. Kind of see him in that 5th round, even 4th round to some extent. On to Nick Hampton out of Appalachian State, edge, 6'3", 235. He is going to be probably a DPR, if you don't know what that means, designated pass rush only, but having a pretty solid season. Started the year hot, but has slowed down a bit since, and a lot. Like, he's a guy that they they have no problem dropping it in coverage. So might end up being an off-ball linebacker when it's all said and done, with a good ability to blitz the passer. So if this is a cat that ends up going to Mobile or even any All-Star Bowl, like we could see them try to do what they did with, like we saw with D'Angelo Malone last year of Western Kentucky, where they lined him up in the game several times on Jake Ferguson. Fortunately, did go well for Malone in that game. But I mean, that was really his first time truly being consistently like off ball. But Hampton's really good, man. He participated in track and field in high school, former 2-star recruit. And he's really been a rotation player most of his career. Took the reins as a starter last year and went hog wild, dude. 52 pressures, 12 sacks. Doesn't look like he's going to reach that this season, but he's also going to be seeing significantly less snaps this year. So he's been a bit slowed this year. But this dude flies off the edge, man. He keeps moving through contact. You love to see it. He does a great job of turning speed into power. He actually packs a lot of power in that lean frame of his. He's stout at the point of attack and can legit lock horns with blockers worry-free. He plays fast and shows a good change of direction. Also very deadly on stunts. He just closes in fast on the ball. Good length too, so you like to see that. Not sure if it's going to register at 33 inches, but I feel like he's going to be right around there. That's kind of ideal. But yeah, man, he's going to be largely viewed as either a guy you're going to try to transition into off-ball linebacker or maybe 3-4 edge, which you're going to be playing coverage in some cases there, or just a DPR. Like, added bulk could go a long way because he already packs a lot of power in him, but is what it is. As a run defender, he does occasionally take the wonky route to get to ball carriers, and blockers don't really have to do much to get him out of the play. If he just needs a better feel of how to navigate through traffic and such. It would be nice to see him have a bit more pass rush moves, because this guy always goes to trying to barrel in with power, whether it's like on the outside or trying to move to the inside. So I feel like he gets a bit too predictable sometimes with that, but yeah, in terms of coverage, like, he's really just been a spot dropper. He really has. So not a guy you necessarily want manned up on the tight end and such. But, like, again, what he brings as a pass rusher, very, very intriguing. Big fan of Nick Hampton. On to Jalen Moreno-Cropper. Bam, nailed it this time. Don't know why it gave me so much trouble last time, but it did. It is what it is. I've talked about this cat on the stock report a little bit in depth, so we'll just kind of like briefly cover him here. He's likely gonna at least like clear his yardage from last year. Don't know if he'll get to the touchdown totals. He had 11. I think he had like a 4-touchdown game in 2021, but still putting up very good production regardless. He was a former 4-star recruit out of the 2019 class and basically saw for the most part immediately, or at least immediate playing time, and was basically a full-fledged starter by 2020. This dude's exceptional with the ball in his hands. Like, he shows very good vision, very good contact balance. Going back to 2021, on 85 receptions, he had 17 forced missed tackles. This year on 63 receptions, he has 16 forced missed tackles. So, wow, that number got better. Yes, it did. The dude's good at that. He's very good out in space and just has blazing speed, and he's just sudden. He's quick. Creates very good separation, and he's doing this on the outside. And this was something I made sure to really talk about, I think, in my stock report, that like last year, he was working the slot 95% of the time. This year, he's on the outside 80% of the time. So you love to see it. You really do. The drops have looked really good in the last 2 seasons, as he only has 6 drops in the last 2 seasons, which means his drop rate is about 4%, which is really good. You want to be under that 10%. He's well under it. He does show strong hands. He can make acrobatic catches. And you know what? This dude brings return experience as well. So this dude is just a yak machine. No kidding, he brings return experience, right? He is a bit thin, though. 6'1", 172. He's a bit thin. Could probably add some bulk to him. He isn't the most physical guy during the route or over the middle. And probably put on some bulk, and you kind of worry about these thinner guys getting knocked off the timing on routes, and just kind of takes them out of the play. So it's like, yeah, that's kind of honestly probably my biggest gripe with him right now. I'm just a huge fan of what Cropper has done this season. Got an early day 3, probably probably could sneak into day 2. Next, we got J.L. Skinner, safety, maybe, out of Boise, 6'4", 220. Yeah, that dude's a big boy safety. 55 tackles on the season with 2 interceptions, 2 pass breakups, and a pressure. Got a 4th round grade on him. Former 3-star recruit out of the 2019 class. He is a former receiver in high school. Has a track and field background. Also played basketball as well. But having a solid season nonetheless. Hits like a brick. No kidding. At that size, you better. Literally, like, ball carriers crumble. Like they're, again, a brick through windshield. He makes these guys look like broken windshield glass. It's probably a okay metaphor, I guess. He does a good job of clogging passing lanes with his length, which I'm not gonna lie to you. I think a move to linebacker kind of feels imminent for him, but does a good job of tracking what's going on in the backfield. Shows good closing speed on ball carriers, length to be a nuisance around the catch point, but also to be to just clog passing lanes and discourage quarterbacks of just even going in his vicinity. In terms of what he does as a tackler, he's been pretty solid. He's just under 10% missed tackle rate, and really when it comes to guys you might want to move to safety, or move to linebacker, that's great. Typically, as long as you're under 20% missed tackle rate for a linebacker, that's a-okay. But I honestly, I think moving to linebacker increases his stock rather than just being a box only safety. I think box only just kind of moves or hurts his stock. And at least for the safety position, I don't think he's that fluid. I don't think he's a plus athlete at the safety position. The movement skills, like, they're fine, but like he is a bit stiff when out there having to cover a lot of space. It doesn't exactly explode out of his back pedal. I'm telling you, this guy just needs to move to linebacker because he's got that enforcer mentality. He really does. And honestly, he's kind of coverage savvy. He's played a variety of different coverages there at Boise State. But like for a guy that relishes like being an aggressive tackler, like goes for the hit stick, has that physical mentality, the missed tackle rate's actually pretty solid. So like straight up, man, I think the guy moves to linebacker. Just keep on putting on maybe more weight. If he can get close to 230, I think teams are going to love this guy, and he'll probably go in day 2 because we know what this linebacker class is. It's thin. Our boy J.L. Skinner, though, he ain't thin at all. Next on the list, Tucker Kraft. Now, Kraft has been slowed down by a right ankle injury. Yo, I'm going to blow my brains out real quick. Golly. I was trying to hold that back for like the last 5 minutes. It is what it is. So Tucker Kraft has been slowed down by a right ankle injury in 2022. And he missed, it was right after the season, or in the season opener, he suffered the injury, returned at week 8, and he's been solid ever since. So like legit, all this production you're seeing on the screen, season stats, that's basically return it after week 8, because in week 1 he only had 1 reception for 7 yards. So I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty solid. But he's got that prototypical tight end size. If you didn't know, Tucker Kraft, tight end, 6'5", 255, South Dakota State. If you're one of those listeners, passive aggressive, man, passive aggressive. But he's got an interesting background. He was like an unranked recruit in 2019 in high school. He played running back, linebacker, and punter. He was also a very successful basketball player in high school, 14 points per game with 8 rebounds. So he was essentially a walk-on here for South Dakota State and kind of just established himself as one of the top guys there on the roster. He does a really good job of selling fakes and like using his his shoulders and his head to kind of like sell those fakes. But he also does a good job with quick feet out of the break, using his hands to get that separation. So I like that. Strong hands, very good at the contested catch point. Hasn't really had the opportunity to do it this season, but he was 9 of 12 in 2021. Tracks the ball well in air and absorbs contact exceptionally well. Very good after the catch. He has 7 forced missed tackles this season on only 18 receptions. Still, he's coming around as a blocker, and that's why I think he could trend in the right direction and end up being one of the better tight ends in this class. But I feel like he's a bit plotted rather than explosive, and he has strong hands, like whether it's like catching or high point of the football or in traffic, but he does have a lot of puzzling drops when you go back and look at 2021. He only has the 1 drop this year, but again, that's only on 24 targets this season. But last season he had 7 drops on 84 targets, which was close to that 10% drop rate, and a lot of them are very puzzling. They really are. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily a ball skills thing. It's not like they were focus drops either. Some of them were like letting the ball hit his pads, but also they were kind of tougher than you'd expect, like sliding, having to catch, and just like it get in there, bounce out. Like, again, some weird drops on his 2021 film. He does have great pop in his hands and does a good job of finessing edge players and linebackers as blockers. But again, just something that he has slowly gotten better at. He's actually been really good this season as a blocker, but again, we're pulling from a 4-game sample size at this point. False starts were something that were huge in 2021. Let's see if I find his specific flags. Yeah, he was flagged 6 times, 5 of them being false starts. This year, he has 2 flags in a game. Don't know what they were for. Did go back and watch the North Dakota game. So, guess I'll have to do that if I want to get some rationale on what those flags were for. But, like, dude, this guy's got prototypical size. He's a plus athlete. Hopefully, the hands seem good. But again, like, puzzling drops in 2021. I don't know. We'll see. He does a little bit after the catch, too. So, overall, like, he's fairly solid. Fairly solid prospect. I think I'd be willing to put him above Sam Laporta. Like, I think I would. Like, right, though, those are my 2 4th-round tight ends. It's real close. And it's funny that both of them actually have questions about their ball skills. Next on the list, Carl Brooks. I am a huge fan of Carl Brooks. I saw that he was on Mike Renner's top 100. So I was like, I got to go watch this guy. And I was like, this dude plays edge at 6'4", 300? What type of monster is this? And when you go look at it this season, like, he does play a bulk on the edge, or at least outside of the 5-tech, 341 snaps this season. He's done that. But he does play also over inside of the tackle. He's done that over 230 times this season. So he's got a bit of versatility to him. And I was like, I got to go watch this cat. I'm so excited. And yo, like straight up, like he might be the strongest player on the field at any given moment. Like he doesn't look 300 pounds. He looks maybe closer to like a 270, maybe even 265. But like listed at 300 pounds, he doesn't move like he's 300 pounds, but he's as strong. Like he's strong like he was 300 pounds. Like this guy's constantly throwing blockers into the laps of quarterbacks. And like he shows good burst, good suddenness on stunts, has one of the most feared bull rushes I think in this class. He does, like he can work blockers with one arm while reaching out to either bring down the quarterback or the ball carrier with the other. And like this dude loves to scrap at ball carriers too. Like he will man a guy up with one arm while just raking and scraping and like, give him to me. It's like Scorpion, come here. Like honestly, this Bowling Green defense is like they might have a couple of guys. Like I can't wait to get back around to them because like there's a couple of guys, especially in that front seven, that are like pretty impressive. He's coming off a banger game, by the way, just Tuesday, I think. Tuesday against Toledo, which Toledo, very good squad. And Carl Brooks just had a field day. 15 pressures, 3 sacks. Like, just look at his stats this season. Look at him last year. Like, he's been super productive for this squad throughout his whole career. Over the course of his career, he has 30 sacks, 150 pressures. Like, golly, man. This dude is just really good. His hands, they're legit jarring. They really are. He's capable of playing low to the ground, too. Like he'll throw a dip. He'll go on a dip and loses no momentum whatsoever. He provides good versatility because he's lined up even at 0-tech this season for the Falcons. Now, he's pretty bendy for his size, but if you're going to play him on the outside, you're going to likely need to play him wider because he's not the most bendy guy. He's got good burst for a 300-pounder, but that's also good for his size. There hasn't been many different pass rush moves, and he's typically tried to just solely win with power or push-pull moves and such. But overall, dude, this is a guy to get hyped about, man. I really hope he gets a Senior Bowl invite. I'm really excited to watch him. And then I've talked about this cat as well. Christian Haynes, out of Connecticut. He is a mainly played, well, I think he's only played right guard for Connecticut, and weighing at 6'3", 305. He's only allowed 3 pressures on the season. Does have 6 penalties. But overall, man, this cat isn't allowed pressure whatsoever. Against Michigan, they didn't sniff the quarterback once. Against NC State, same thing. Put up a goose egg. We got Syracuse, put up a goose egg. Boston College, put up a goose egg. Like, this guy against legit Power 5 competition has looked the part. Another guy that I checked out because of Mike Renner's top 100, and I was like, okay, gotta go watch this Haynes guy. And I actually remember watching him from Ryan Van Denmark last season. I was like, oh, that guy over there is a pretty good mover. But whatever, he plays at Connecticut. I'll get to him sometime, maybe next year. If he puts up good production, and he has. He's been really good. He's such a smooth mover. He's got quick feet, covers a lot of ground, little wasted movement, whether it's with his footwork or how he utilizes those hands. And on top of that, like, this guy plays with that nasty mentality. He's a runner, like he's a mauler in the run game. Throwing jabs, understands blocking angles. You just love this cat. Does struggle to gain and maintain leverage, honestly. It's a lot of that. It's just he stands up Like, he just needs to sink his hips. And honestly, I think that's an easy fix. I mean, the way he moves, I figure he's flexible enough to do so. So, is what it is. While he probably has, like, his power is fine enough for the position. He does have that explosive power with his jabs and his strikes. So you do like to see that. Has made strides with his technique from 2021 to 2022. However, does still look a little awkward sliding back into pass protection occasionally. But dude's been very good this season. If anything, he's going to be a very good run blocker with very good moves. So big fan of this cat. He also cracked my top 100. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube theme. Let me know of guys who weren't on this list that you think maybe should have, or because I haven't checked out everybody yet. I'm just really starting to crack into the non-Power 5 guys. So, yeah, let me know in the comment section below. And until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.